I like buckets. Do you like buckets? We all love buckets. Here I have some ginger water to help out my stomach, and a banana, also meant to help out my stomach, just in case I feel peckish throughout this next playthrough of the Bucket Parable. Developed by Buckets, Buckets, Buckets. Written by a bucket. Made for buckets. Please enter the current time. It's 12. 30. Oh wait, hold on a second. It's AM, PM. It's 12:04. PM. Yeah. Hang on. Before we get started, can I just say something? Can you say, I love something? Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you've booted up the game. You're welcome. A lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock set at 12 o'clock and call it a day. But you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. You're welcome. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I'm observant, you see. I don't even have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see the screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whichever time you want, even if it's not the correct time. You've earned it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. That was interesting. Back to the Stanley Parable 2. Yeah, the game still remembers I've unlocked the potential for the sequel. I can imagine, like, this game would appeal to newcomers and people who've already played the original, because if there's people getting into this game having not played the original, they probably would have picked, no, I haven't played this game before, and that would then motivate them to play the game as it was originally intended. And depending on if they played the game before or not, that may have a consequence on how soon they would have seen that new door that said new content. Loving the screen though, so... And then as soon as they get the new content, they're able to play the sequel, which, as far as I'm aware, doesn't really offer anything that new, apart from extra collectibles and new endings centered on a bucket. Oh man, you just gotta love this game. God bless every part of this game. Let's begin. Now, what? We need to search for that last collectible. It's somewhere in a place that's red and blue. It's not in that red and blue door bit, because...
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
That would imply...
Stanley worked for a company in a big...
Because the red and blue area... Welcome back, thank you. A place that's red and blue. Where's the place that's red and blue?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
There's the bucket. Right. What should we do with my precious bucket.
Where are we
today.
going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled.
Oh.
Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
Destination anywhere, east to west, I don't care. I know where to go to get it today.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
And they called it Bucket Love.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Yes, my bucket shall replace the companion cube, because I love it more than news.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
And drain. My tears will fill this bucket and drain. I mean, assuming you tilt it upside down. My tears for you. No, wait. I hope and I pray that maybe someday you'll be back in my arms once again. Back in my arms once again.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Yes. And so they passed on in peace. I was meant to go on the lift. I didn't actually know there was a ramp.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
There it is. I wonder if I could achieve bucket heaven.
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
Well, indeed.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Yeah.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact.
Okay, right.
He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him,
Yes.
and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Very good, very good. I'm gonna be loyal to my bucket to the very end.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Blindly obeying the bucket.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
This is the ending where Stanley meets his wife, but then the narrator makes some point about Stanley being like so mundane, because the wife in question is like a dummy, and Stanley's like obsessed with pushing buttons on the keyboard just to prove a point about Stanley blindly like sticking to his job or something like that. There's also the Zending, which you can literally unplug the phone. I'm very curious about that. Let's just pick up the phone for now.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
The freedom ending. Wish you were here. Aloha from the freedom ending. The canonical ending, by the way. Adventure with the LOI. Hey, that kind of looks like the Ukrainian flag. I played the demo. Yes, I did. I went to the mind control facility. All I got was a lousy sticker. Narrator Airlines. My days. My days. Hey, I've seen that kind of before. Man. Okay. The abstract art looking like a bucket. They're having too much fun with this. Jazz music. Oh yeah, God bless the jazz music. The bucket. Hold on a second. Let's put on some tea for you. Okay, I'm gonna put some tea for you. What kind of tea would you like? How about we have some tea that could remove the stains off you? I could offer you maybe some like green tea. I like green tea. How about some ginger tea? That's good for your stomach. Well, ginger tea. How about lemon and ginger tea? I tell you what, lemon's good for like for your health as well as I hear that if you combine lemon with salt, you can wipe off like certain stains. So I'll give you salty lemon and ginger tea. How's that? Okay. Pour. All right, pouring it into the bucket. I love you, bucket. Hello, Stanley. It's me, your bucket. Press F to take me to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship.
Yes.
It doesn't literally talk and give you orders.
What?
Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
I confess I'm always afraid of what's inside my head. Okay, that was a good day's work. Just go to the office. Going back home again.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Well, it's the same reason I obsessed over a box with a love heart on it, because it was the only companion, so to speak, in that game. That's the same reason why I'm obsessed over this bucket, my friend. Let's go back to work.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me?
Stanley, can
Listen
you
to me.
hear me?
It's just a bucket. It can't think. It can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
It doesn't? No. Don't listen to the loud man. Press H. Take us back home. Make love.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and
now
listened
he
to.
just
Now all he
making
cares
lemon
about
and
is
ginger
his
tea for the
awful
bucket.
bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
You like the tea there? Press N to ignore anyone in your life except for me.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this
look, there's
sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
Well, yes. Hey, look, there's an actual window there. An actual window. You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Press H to go back home.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket.
Oh.
It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid.
Oh,
Like
quite.
it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Press P to relive the same day with me. Over and over, Stanley. Over and over. The end is never the end, 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 is never the end! Eternity exists, yo.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
The way the shadow lurks. It's the bucket parable now. Press C, go home from work. Why am I walking through this chair? Wrong button.
Oh no.
Oh,
I'm
romantic.
having feelings for the bucket. No, no, no,
Oh,
no, no, no,
romantic
no, no.
candlelight.
What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to
Oh.
say. Do anything it asks.
Oh.
What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps, if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Oh, yes. Look at that bucket. Jazz night. Buckets. Oh, look at that jazz man playing for that bucket. Look at all the candlelight. Oh, the bucket. Oh, buckets. Is this like Stanley coming out as like bucket sexual or something?
Stanley, give me the bucket.
No.
Give it to me. Give me the bucket,
No.
Stanley. I need it.
It's
Give it to
mine.
me now. Give it or I'll...
It's mine. My own. My bucket. My. Anyway. Well, that was interesting. Was that good for you? Well, I've had better.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Gross. Now I'm having images like Stanley having sex with a bucket.
The embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
Let's go outside with the bucket. Let's go out the window. Let's do like the gag ending. Okay.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear.
We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone.
Yay.
Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true
Your
self.
true self.
The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans.
What the?
And the bucket's own complicity therein,
The
of
bucket is
sadness and
supreme.
regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have
committed
taken
war?
to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger. Of hope and redemption,
Oh,
and its
beautiful.
crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man.
Yes.
To manifest justice where none existed.
Yes,
And
bring
the
that back to
bittersweet
physical
reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in principles like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
What are you
You're a
talking
bucket.
about? You're a
To this,
bucket!
the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Said the bucket.
What?
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations
Oh,
as payback for the
that
sacred
name we
amulet
mentioned-
I stole from his
that
treasured
name we
vaults.
heard
I was young
the
back
tape
then
recording.
and could not conceive the
there's a wizard.
ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
No.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why
You're not a warrior! You're a utensil!
As Stanley
You
screamed and
are
screamed
a
and
man's
screamed, the bucket
pouring
revealed its true
thing!
form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like...
Huzzah! Huzzah! Huzzah!
My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would
Is that a
have easily
reference
been
to Ocarina of Time or
overwhelmed by the
something?
bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
So there was dark magic in the bucket the whole time. My days. Huh. Okay, new lore to the Stanley Parable. There exists an evil wizard. Right. So there really is something surreally supernatural going on here. I mean, you can say the same thing to all these bizarre cults that people get into to find a need for the supernatural. The end is never the end is never the end.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I could go about doing all these other endings. But how would these endings be interesting without the bucket? I shouldn't keep it. Why should I keep it? What? Do you find it difficult to let the bucket go, Bilbo? Well, no. And yes. It's mine. I found it in the caves. Received.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker.
Yes, indeed.
In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
Given the previous ending, yeah, I think I would want to become a better person. Now, which ending do I want to do? Did that. Somewhere that's red and blue. I think I know what to do next.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Somewhere both red and blue. Where is the red and blue place? I mean, I'm thankful that there's a hint wall thing. Here across the office, we have synergized our resources to ensure their retrieval. There are many questions. There is no memo from management. How can you do this? What makes them float in the air? It's like divine powers, you see. Telling them, look, collect this. Look, was right by employee 416. You can do it. Where is the red and blue place? I've got all the other places. Where is the red and blue? Okay, here's some other hints. Photos. Okay, got the toilet. Well, I'm past it. Please do not leave the office before reporting back and finding teamwork communication. Where are they? Someone in the cargo room building a bridge. Do we need to contact for them? Can we sell them? Obviously, more sold. How many are there? There's 6. Why floating? Magnets are quarterly success. Magic, training exercise, dreams. Divine intervention or something. Should we make them employees? Yes, maybe. Why do they want money, stock, our data? Trust the completionist instinct. Why wouldn't they just tell us something will happen? The investigation, this room, they feel pointless, to be honest. We need more planks. Wait. That's a clue. That's a clue! Oh! I know where to go. Oh! I get it. I know where it is. I know where it is. The reason I couldn't access the red and blue place was because the buckets got in the way. Because of the sign that says, no buckets allowed. So I can't go in there without the bucket. Otherwise, I go through that whole ending again. Alright. I know what to do in the meantime.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I was gonna go to, turn on the computer system. But you know what? Let's do this ending instead, because I know where the last collectible is, so let's just do this.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Quite.
He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket.
Am I crazy?
The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these.
Quite.
He held the bucket
Those are
close,
muse.
yet felt none of its
I be the
familiar
poet, the bucket be the
reassurance and
muse.
comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket.
No!
Someone else's bucket.
No!
How did I end up with someone
This isn't
else's
the Dark
bucket?
Wizard's
This is
bucket.
all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who
No.
knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations
No.
Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd.
Yes.
And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious,
Just like
he
last
exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
The bucket!
Could it truly
My
be?
bucket!
He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None
bucket?
of them were
What
his
the-
special bucket.
What the bucket?
Come to me, Stanley! Find
My
me!
bucket!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore
Where's my
his
bucket?
sanity. And then suddenly,
Where's my bucket?
he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from.
In his head.
The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew
about
what the
buckets.
problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cool.
Ah,
would it
well,
be?
if only I
And
picked
she
up
hugged
the
her own
bucket at the
with
office.
pleasure. But of course, she had no time
If
for this.
only if all that
There were a
predetermined
myriad
madness
of
was like
confusing
madness.
problems she would soon have to confront at work, for
Oh,
which her
quite.
bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Backflipped all the way to work. With the bucket, I take it. With the bucket. Now, I know where to go.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Getting trippy. Getting real trippy here. Hey. Where's my access to the button heaven? I think I made a mistake.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct
I did
way
it.
to the meeting room.
I
and
resisted
Stanley
the
knew it perfectly
evil
well.
dark wizard's
Perhaps he
bucket.
wanted to stop by the employee
too much
lounge
of a-
first, just to admire it.
Too much of a grasp on me.
The lounge was sublime,
But
a
then
work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I know where to go now.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
See? I couldn't gain access to this part before, but now I can, and I've got all
And
of
there
them!
it is, the last
Woo!
Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward.
Oh, quite.
I tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that.
Oh, quite.
So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here.
Thank you.
And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Indeed. 5th Annual Subcommittee meeting. Internal Revenue Analysis of Committers, the Royal Revenue Club. Alright. Congratulations, we found them all. Let's go through the red door.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me.
You're
Do you
welcome.
see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I
So
wanted to
surreal.
stop. We would both be so much happier if we just
Surreal.
stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Time to relax a bit. Let's see this in high definition.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
Whoa, look at this path. Nice lighting.
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Let's just take a moment to just look at this. Yeah. This is good. The end is never the end.
Good choice after all.
Wait a
Well,
minute.
this one is yours.
Wait a minute. We fell down an infinite hole. So Stanley dies from this height. And yet, he doesn't die after falling down an infinite hole? What gives?
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
I'm sorry, narrator. We had to do this.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines.
Oh.
Those figglers.
Right.
I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one.
Okay.
Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life?
Well, yes.
Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
That was a clever trick he played on me. Ah, the blessed Holy Land. Blessed Holy Land. See the figurines. So beautiful. So beautiful. Sorry, I like stepping through this gate. Anyway. You must really love those figurines. I like the figurines. Hold on, just let me think for a moment. Like heaven for the narrator, isn't it? Sorry, I really like stepping through this little gate. Well, the big arched gate. It's not a little gate, it's a big arched gate. I like stepping through this. It's like stepping into paradise. Now remembering when Stanley found the collectibles. Wait a minute. What the? Are you guys seeing this? There's something weird going on with... That's weird. Do you notice something about the entrance? I don't think that's how seeing inside houses work. What the frick? What the frick? That's weird. Do you see that? Do you see that? Okay. That's weird. Anyway. Must be a little glitchy glitch. Hello, we're in paradise. This is a paradise that we've not lost. It's a paradise earned since we found all the collectibles. Gotta love these exhibits. You got to love these exhibits. Johnny ho! Right.
Here's where it all began.
Ah, yes, with Stanley
the
Parable
first
2
collectible. Back
yes.
then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
I'll never be lonely again. 7 out of 6. What the frick? People must be having lots of fun with this artwork, though. This is like something straight out of like Dante's Inferno or something. Now I am the center of all that. Like, I wish I could like go in third person to make it look like they were all clawing after me or something. That's like some kind of like divine figure or something. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Anyway, let's go here. We got 7 out of 6 figures. What the frick? What the?
And here was a second Stanley. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the warehouse. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
Oh, quite. And then...
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
Okay, I found the first one, the Stanley Parable 2. Is this a trick question? I found like the first one in the Stanley Parable 2 thing. The second one was right there, as the narrator pointed out. Oh man, it was under the stairs. This is a trippy game.
Hey, that's exactly right. It
Hey!
was here, under the stairs. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Okay, whatever the science
Let's
says.
see, what came
Just
next?
the science, man. What?
Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room.
What?
Oh, well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
Well, if it's the memory zone, this is my memory, then technically speaking, it's probably remembering collecting the figurine. I don't remember being in this pink room! 10 out of 6. What the frick? These apples?
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was behind the boss's office. I remember it so clearly.
That's right.
In fact, because this one is particularly special to me,
That's
I made
right.
a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Okay. How you found it? Oh man, this is bringing us back to classic YouTube videos. What's that over there? My days, like the very pixelated graphics, slideshow style presentation. Man, that's gonna bring people back. Yes! Achievement! Life has meaning! Narrator, Death Boy starring Stanley. Narrator.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Well played. Fair enough. Power to you. Power to you, to the hallelujah. Alright, this is the curtains. Alright. And then I found it here, yes.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works?
Well, quite.
All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's
Fell out
all
of
of them.
6.
They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other.
Well, quite.
Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it
Right.
was exactly like.
Is this like the new Undertale? This game remembers everything I do! Wee! Red and blue, blue and red, and red and blue, and blue and red, and blue. I like blue. I like blue. Blue is my favorite color. Oh. Oh, there's a TV there. You are in the present.
And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
By memories. What is this? Now? When? That I was back then.
No, I'm not
Wait, what?
done.
Wait,
I'm not
what?
ready to move on.
What?
Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
You're now in the present. This is like that joke from Spaceballs. My days, this game is really surreal and supernaturally trippy. With philosophy on predetermination and free will and author's intention and player choice and satire of game design, and man, that's great. And the narrator's done some great stuff as well. Man, this game's really making me think. The sequel is now paused. Wait, what? The TV makes a sound effect every time I reload the game. That's interesting. I need to get a drink. Okay. That was actually just a drop. That's what I got there. Okay, let's going back. I like blue.
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
Recent one.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, I love that video.
Good to know. Glad I could satisfy you there. And going there. The memory zone.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
Yeah, I like that apple. Puts me in the mood for eating one. I like apples.
These really were a treat to hunt down.
Oh,
you
they
know,
were.
if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Fair enough. I guess it's like the Last Guardian with all these extra barrels you can feed Trico. You don't need to hunt them down, but it increases your bond with the game and with Trico. I can't go back. Oh, maybe I can.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
What happens if you like fall off?
This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figlarines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
I want to give them to you. Oh yes, this is the Stanley Parable 2 exhibit. So you can see what we left there. Anyway.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then. But time does put a rosy filter on everything.
It
In
certainly
fact,
does.
I dare say I'm actually... Oh, yes! The two doors! Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
I was gonna say, if this was like, okay, rose-tinted layer. And all the way back to here.
And before everything else, there was your office.
Oh, quite.
Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office?
The mod.
There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
The mod itself.
Yes,
The mod?
I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then, somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions, he would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be.
Quite.
Yes, I can be on my own again.
The
I
narrator on
can
his
do
own.
it. I'll be stronger this time.
Right.
I'll take care of myself.
Better,
I don't need
faster,
Stanley
stronger,
anymore.
faster, stronger,
Oh, but he
faster,
truly was so
better,
much fun
faster.
to play with.
That's not the lyrics.
You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much.
It's been a privilege.
Here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Well then.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Well, we found all the figurines. I guess that made him happy. So what now? Oh look, someone's playing the card game on their computer. I don't really have anything much to say. That was very bizarre. What have we got to do now? Okay, so we have the figurines. Okay. Well, how many more endings do we need to do with the bucket? Okay, the Zending bucket edition. We need the buttons at the canonical ending. 2, 3. Oh wait, 4 more. There's another ending. I know what to do.
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I know what to do next.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Well, this place is no longer giving me hints to find the figurines.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Okay. This is the ending we need to do next.
Stepping...
This is it. This is it. We finally get to do that escape pod ending properly. Good thing I brought a banana with me. Here we can be in the broom closet in peace. Anyway, enough of the broom closet. Let's finally escape. Let's fly away, let's fly away. See that? Oh, I saw that. I saw the glitchy glitch. Or was that just... No, I couldn't have been the white girl, would it? Still a work in progress. Alright. Let's finally escape. What happens if you climb out the window with the bucket during this escape ending? I like bananas. Okay, here we go. The moment we've been waiting for. This is it. We finally get the escape pod ending, as it was meant to be. There we go. My beloved dark wizard bucket. Shh. It's okay. Go. Be at peace. My love. My precious. Be free, bucket. Be free. Okay, we have 3 more endings to go.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
What? My bucket! My bucket's gone! The bucket's gone! No! The bucket's gone! The bucket's legitimately gone! No! No! There was so much I wanted to do with the bucket! No! No! The bucket! He's gone! Godspeed, bucket. May you repent of any involvement with dark magic. Why do I miss a bucket that's associated with black magic? That's beyond me. Well, I grew a psychological friendship with the bucket. What am I even talking about?! This game's making me attached to a bucket.